Hello and welcome back. I'm one of your three hosts, Majin.
I'm Urbia.
And I'm Maeve. And today, we're going to be talking about an article from Arstechnica. Now, I just want to put this in perspective quickly. Now, the article says straight underneath, it's George Lucas reveals his plans for Star Wars 7 through 9, and it was awful. And then underneath that, because they cannot help themselves, compared to this, Rian Johnson saved your childhood.
Oh, for fuck's
We'll be the judge of that.
We'll
be the judge of that.
Why? This article would have gone so much better for them if they just left that one
out.
sentence.
But okay.
He couldn't even save Holdo. Like, how can he save our childhood?
Exactly. But alright, so the article starts, Friday morning was going pretty well, all things considered. I was at my desk, editing some photos and having breakfast. Then R's editor, Lee Hutchinson, pinged me on Slack and ruined it all. It's even worse than we could have possibly imagined, said my boss. And as Han Solo said, I can imagine a lot. Accompanying this message was news about George Lucas' plans for Star Wars episodes 7 through 9. And my god, would they have sucked. Forget the First Order or Porgs, forget BB-8 and Poe Dameron. Imagine, if you can, our heroes shrinking down like Fantastic Voyage to go meet some midi-chlorians. There, now your breakfast is ruined too. Alright, so...
Wow.
So, okay, first of all, I'd like to point out that he says shrinking down like the Fantastic Voyage to go meet some midi-chlorians. Now, first off, George Lucas never actually stated that in the briefing that he said. He never actually said that they would be shrinking down or anything. This guy's just assuming.
It's implied, though, sort of.
It's implied, but at the same time, he kind of is just, saying that, George Lucas would have done that, which is, I mean, look, maybe George Lucas would have done it. Who knows at this point? We will never find out. But honestly, I don't know.
I never thought there'd be gender politics in Star Wars, and that was proven wrong too, so who knows, at this point, I can't just definitively say, that will never happen.
Okay, guys, can you imagine if Disney ran with George Lucas's ideas? There would have been female midi-chlorians.
In a chase scene. Looking for fuel.
Yes. Yes, looking for fuel inside of another Force user.
Oh my god. They're gonna talk about, like, fuel and lightsabers, like, oh my god, my lightsaber's about to run out. Like...
Yeah, Disney just cannot shut up about fuel, and ironically, George Lucas can't shut up about midi-chlorians, so...
Does Disney have an oil crisis of its own? I don't get it.
It's politics. They want Star Wars, they want a galaxy far, far away to be...
Powered by crude oil.
To be powered, by crude oil. Like, jeez, I don't know. It just seems so stupid. Yes. I mean, I don't know. Like, both ideas seem really... look, what Disney did obviously was absolute garbage. I don't know if George Lucas would have made this work, but it probably would have sucked. But okay, I don't know.
The first one.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's... right.
But, alright, so, Urbia, move on to the next paragraph.
The info comes from an interview between Lucas and another billionaire filmmaker, James Cameron. I love this man. So this is why they.
I mean, look. If we know. All of our viewers know. Urbia. We all know. A galaxy far, far away knows.
Okay, I'll continue. The latter made a series about science fiction, and the transcript of their interview was recently published in the series' companion book. The bombshell drops after a brief insight into Lucas' view of the environmental damage we're causing the Earth. We're not going to save the planet, Lucas regularly tells people, and follows up by saying we'll end up like Mars, but Mars is fine, he thinks, and he's sure we'll find life there, and in the rest of the solar system too. Okay, I mean, he kind of went off on a tangent there.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, great.
We're not going to save the planet. Interesting opinion.
But that would still fall into the same issue that we have now, bringing current day politics and problems into Star Wars.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I don't think he would have done it as haphazardly as Disney, though. Because remember, there was technically politics in the original trilogy, but it wasn't thrown in your face like a smear shit on a fan, you know? It was subtle, you know? It was
It didn't break
subtle.
the fan.
It didn't break the fan with the sheer amount of shit thrown at it.
Plus, it's still...
The shit wasn't flung with hyperdrive into the
causing it to explode into all the shit behind it in a bright spark because there was a ship piloting it. Wait, no, sorry. I'm thinking of something else.
There was an SJW midichlorian.
with purple hair. I mean, no hair. I mean, that's not a time of anything. Alright, but it continues. This thought of microscopic alien life spurs a memory. Everybody hated it in The Phantom Menace when we started talking about midichlorians, Lucas says. Uh-huh. We sure did. Because it was a really dumb idea. What follows should make every Star Wars fan send a note of gratitude to whoever at Disney decided to buy the franchise and take it away and out of Lucas's control. Okay,
Okay.
I don't know how to process that, but okay. It moves on to a quote. The next 3 Star Wars films were going to get into the microbiotic world. But there's this world of creatures that operated differently than we do. I call them wills. And the wills are the ones that actually control the universe and feed off the Force. Oh my god, there would have been a fuel.
The Force is becoming the fuel.
The Force is the fuel. Oh god.
Hey, look, at least there wouldn't ever run out of it. You know, like
I don't know. Is there a finite amount of midichlorians? No, wait. Don't answer.
Like, do they reproduce or something? Maybe. Like, I don't know.
I mean, look, it is kind of strange hearing this entire thing because Lucas is essentially saying that he would have gone into it irrespective of what fans were saying, which is exactly what Disney are doing right now.
Just worse.
Just way worse, because I don't think George Lucas would have insulted the fans, which is what, you know, Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson are doing.
It would still have been as bad. I doubt the next trilogy we would have gotten following the midichlorian path and, you know, the current Star Wars following the SJW path. I'm pretty sure they would have been equally bad, but at least Lucas will just say, this is the creative direction that I'm taking it. He won't accuse his fans of being racist, sexist, bigots that don't like pansexuals and, you know, don't go outside.
Yeah, and there wouldn't have been any robo-revolution and
or
fucking all that weird
or crying
shit from
over
Solo.
the death of a machine that you could have just literally plugged into a ship and lives on.
So
it was so ridiculous. Like, I think everyone thought of that scene. Like, if the hard drive or operating system or whatever is okay, then it's still alive.
I wonder if the Millennium Falcon also needs perpetual updates. I wonder, imagine if the Millennium Falcon was Windows 10, you know, you're being chased by a Star Destroyer, you need to hyperspace out, and then it has to update that specific moment so everything shuts down.
I just imagine that, you know, that blue screen, that you know. But I don't know.
He probably has it constantly on mute, like the speakers on mute. That's why we don't hear about the robot in the original trilogy.
Yeah, you know what I actually want to just like, because over here in the article where it says, what follows should make every Star Wars fan send a note of gratitude to whoever at Disney decided to buy the franchise and take it away and out from under Lucas's control. Now,
no.
The thing is,
why would we be grateful? It's still shit.
Yes, we'll be grateful when you actually make a good Star Wars movie. How about that? You know, we will be grateful when that happens, because you can say that, you know, his movies would have been worse than what we got, but without any proof, there's no way to know what we would have gotten. You know?
This is one of the oldest media tricks in the book. They're trying to create a false equivalency.
Yeah.
Or as they refer to it,
Yeah.
what about isms you get, Yes, sure, Rian Johnson made a horrible movie, but what about what George Lucas wanted to do? To which you reply, what about what George Lucas...
What about the children?
What about the children?
Who cares what George Lucas would have done? George Lucas doesn't own Star Wars anymore. Disney, you do. It's irrelevant what you're trying to do.
It's like two wrongs don't make a right.
Yes.
And in this case, a supposed wrong that we never got to see.
Exactly. We don't know what would have happened. Hey, shit, maybe he would have turned it around. Maybe he would have made it interesting. God knows what would have happened. I mean, maybe it would have been absolutely horrible, but at least it would have felt like Star Wars, not the soulless shill crap that we're getting from Disney,
Where they outright say we're trying to detach ourselves from the original trilogy, to which your reply should be, why are you trying to detach yourself? If the story you have bought is such a burden to your creative liberty, then why make a Star Wars movie? If Star Wars is holding back your story, make a different story. Call it, Battlestar Galactica, but shit. Or Star Trek, but shit. Anything like that.
How about, they, for all the time that they kept on saying that they're ignoring the original trilogy, they sure like to,
reference
it a
Reference
fuck ton.
a lot.
Like, all the fucking time, man.
No, that's just homage.
Solo had so many references. Jesus Christ, it had a lot of references to the original trilogy.
I'm surprised there wasn't like a Jabba reference. I guess maybe at the end there was a sort of Jabba reference.
They referenced that they need to go to Tatooine.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know, but okay. Moving on. I'm honestly at a bit of a loss when it comes to describing just how dumb I think that story would have been. Like Robot Jocks, Pacific Rim, if I'm being charitable, but with Jedi and Sith instead of giant mechs. A recreation of the underwater chase on Naboo, but with macrophages and neutrophiles. I just can't even, as the kids say. By the way, if you were holding onto that fan theory that the Wills were Yoda species, time to deal with it. On the other hand, it might have displaced Ewoks, The Battle for Endor, Caravan of Courage, and the Star Wars Christmas special as the 3 worst Star Wars productions ever made. Now again, he's saying that it would have been awful without...
That just brings us back to where we were.
Yeah.
It just tells us That just tells us that Star Wars was doomed no matter which way we go. It's, Mass Effect 3.
I wonder what's like Cameron thinking about the entire time they're talking. Dude, you realize it's not hard to make a good story.
James Cameron is somewhere in the ocean trying to find the bar and raising it.
Fixing up the submarine.
That's where he is right now. They say that he's working on, the Avatar movies, but he's not. He's somewhere in the ocean finding the bar.
I just love his description, though. Another billionaire movie maker.
But okay, Urbio, next paragraph, please.
So, what's more, even Lucas knew it would have been a dumb idea. Of course, a lot of fans would have hated it, just like they hated Phantom Menace and everything. But at least the whole story from beginning to end would be told, end quote, he told Cameron. Fans frequently refrain that remake sequels and prequels have ruined their childhood when they don't turn out the way they'd like. Well, guys, it's invariably, get on your knees and thank J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson for saving your childhoods instead. Because if Lucas had his way, you'd really have had something to complain about.
Okay, we do have something to complain about, and I will...
It's like he's ignoring
I would
current
rather...
transgressions because other transgressions might have occurred.
And the way Rian Johnson likes to fuck up shit, I'm not kneeling in front of him for a fuck.
Yeah, you know what? I would rather get anally probed than thank Rian Johnson for anything. Ever. Fucking ever. So I would get on my knees, yes.
So this is the basis of their newest argument? That it means they're outright admitting. They admit that their movies are shit. They're just trying to say the argument, yes, I fucked up, but he would have done much worse.
Yes, and
how
J.J.
Abrams...
How about this? J.J. Abrams did a good job relatively speaking, with episode 7. It wasn't great, but it was good.
Yeah,
Rian Johnson
nothing groundbreaking.
smeared his fecal matter all over the script that he sent to all the people
He used it as fuel.
Yes! And then after that, he used it as biofuel.
To the point where he actually I'd argue he made episode 7 a worse film. Because it's completely pointless to watch it now.
Yes, it is. It's completely pointless. Everything that was set up in episode 7, Rian Johnson ruined with The Last Jedi. So
all you need to do is Google the characters, memorize their faces, and you can watch The Last Jedi.
And you know what?
Dear God, don't watch The Last Jedi.
At least with episode 7 to 9 under George Lucas, it would have been a complete story from beginning to end without there being different directors and writers taking the mantle for each fucking episode and then ruining it. You know, like at least there would have been that much. So I don't know, this false narrative that they're trying to.
Yeah, but okay, he's also saying that people feel that their childhood has been ruined, which is something we've said in our original Last Jedi podcast as well. No, our childhood is fine. We still have our Star Wars. Can you just please make a few good ones or fucking leave it alone?
Yes, like we have the original trilogy. They can never take that away from us, but stop fucking it up.
Lucas definitely tried with like the, what's it called, the reshoots and stuff, like CGI effects.
They're gonna reshoot A New Hope.
Oh god. Oh god, that would be awful. No, they should never touch the original trilogy. Just keep your filthy hands away from the original trilogy.
Alright. The article concludes with, when I asked Lee for his thoughts about a title to this piece, his reply said it all. Quote, something, magical mystical voyage into microscopic mediocrity. George Lucas, final trilogy plans. I hope you really fucking love midi-chlorians. Search your feelings, you know it to be true, because of how stupid it is. George Lucas reveals how Disney saves Star Wars from a fate worse than death. George Lucas' final trilogy plan sounds like an episode from Archer, but without the comedy. Tush. George Lucas' final trilogy plans. Fantastic Voyage meets Magic School Bus.
That one actually did make me laugh. Like, that one was pretty funny.
By the way, fuck you. I watched Magic School Bus as a kid. It was awesome. George Lucas' final trilogy plans are so dumb, fans would have begged for a return of Jar Jar. We are begging for the return of Jar Jar, or at least I am.
Except guess what? That happened after The Last Jedi and Solo.
George Lucas details final trilogy plans, acknowledges fans would have hated it. At least you're self-aware. Mm-hmm. George Lucas has nearly completed his evolution into a sentient punchline.
So, I mean, look, it's...
Okay, I have to give them points for at least coming up with some original.
Yeah, look, all of those are pretty funny. Yeah, all of those are pretty funny. It's just, again, it's trying to paint Disney Star Wars in a good light based off of something that never happened.
You know,
it's so retarded. It's unbelievable.
You know what I find scary? How far Disney's reach is. I mean, to us, it's blatantly transparent what they're trying to do. They know they fucked up. Now they're in overtime damage control mode. I mean, the guy that has to do PR at Disney now, I don't want his job. I don't think he's slept in months now.
Oh, no, look, his job is cushy when it comes to Marvel and all of that, but when that file that is almost reaching the ceiling comes into his room from Star Wars, it's like, oh no!
He's basically the janitor at the
Sir,
zoo.
We
He
have
has to
the Star
clean
Wars
piles
file.
of shit.
Wait, what? What did you say, Urbia?
I said he's basically the janitor at the zoo. He has to.
Yeah, there's no difference between the janitor at Lucasfilm and the PR guy at Lucasfilm because they both clean up shit.
They just give him a shovel, like clean the shit up.
But that's what I find so scary. We've now had a Forbes article and this Ars article. I just had to call it that because it's basically everybody is thinking what I'm thinking. Ars article, and Disney's reach in terms of who they can get to now try and do the false dichotomy or it's not that bad, it's worse argument and all that stuff. Their reach is pretty scary for me.
I mean, look, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They control the shill media. They're called the shill media for a reason. You know? They're owned by these big corporations, essentially.
You know, I used to laugh at people who said big corporations are this corrupt. I called them conspiracy theorists. Boy, did I have to change my mind very quickly.
Yeah, after all of this shit, like there's no way that any Star Wars fan worth his salt would read this and just be like, okay, well, this is like just blatantly being stupid just for stupid sake. You're trying to put a false narrative and a spin on a story just to make it seem as if Kathleen Kennedy actually did a good job when
you think they're going through the phases of rejection? I mean, let's face it.
Quite possibly.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, think about it.
They're still in denial stage.
Yeah, they're still in denial, yes.
No, they went through denial, where they just said, no, nothing's wrong. Then they went through anger, where they called everybody racists and bigots.
Oh, yeah, now they're bartering.
Now they're bartering. They're saying, we may be bad, but they would have been worse. Oh, good. So it's just depression and then acceptance we need to get through.
Yes.
Oh, I want to see depressed Disney, just to see how it goes.
Yeah, how funny is that going to be? It's like, we couldn't get Fox because of the damn stocks went down because of Star Wars.
And acceptance should be the firing of Kathleen Kennedy.
Yes, acceptance will finally be like, okay, you know what?
Kennedy, get out.
Kennedy, get the fuck out. Don't let the fucking door hit you as well. Jeez, it's unbelievable though. But okay, I guess at this point, is anybody really surprised that the show media is just carries on?
No, but I don't know if it should be comforting or horrifying that either way, Star Wars was not going to go into any kind of good direction.
Yes.
I know. Maybe it's comforting, because that idea that Star Wars could have been saved if it wasn't sold, that's gone now. So I don't know if we can take comfort in that, or if it's just stop touching Star Wars. I don't know.
You think that it would have been equally as bad? For myself personally, there's no way truly anyway of really knowing, but I do feel as if it would have at least felt like Star Wars because it would have had the original creator making it, and it would have been a full story from beginning to end without any retard Rian Johnson writing the second movie, and destroying pretty much all of the characters that we loved and we
I could have loved if they evolved.
Could have lived.
Yeah.
There probably would have been some good villains, I imagine, and some lightsaber battles.
Yeah, George Lucas was never really bad with his villains. The villains were
good.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
Unless you consider Anakin a villain.
Okay, but Anakin. Okay, he fucked up with who he chose to portray Anakin. I think.
Yes, but think about it. Darth Maul was in only one movie. I don't acknowledge Solo. He was only in one movie, barely spoke, and he's an iconic villain.
Yeah.
Boba Fett was, killed off by falling into a worm, and he's one of the most loved characters, and he was barely in the films, if you really think about it.
So no, George Lucas does a good job with his villains. At least we would have had that instead of.
No, Snoke was a good villain when he was able to pull himself together.
Well, they built him up to be like he had potential to be a good villain, but
yeah, he could
with
have
no
been,
payoff, we
Ryan-
don't know anything.
The thing is, Rian Johnson made Snoke into half the man that he was.
Like, yeah, he made him retarded. Like, he made this genius who rebuilt the Empire.
He made Snoke.
Like, forget about the lightsaber to his side.
Yeah, he made Snoke so powerful, so threatening, and then within 2 minutes killed him off after showing how powerful he was. It was like it was like the equivalent of that carrot on a stick thing with a horse. It's like, oh, you want the carrot?
Yes.
You want the carrot? Oh, sorry, it's gone.
No carrot.
No carrot for you.
And then he's surprised when the horse kicks him.
Yes.
Sexist horse. Sexist horse.
Bigot horse.
Bigoted horse.
Bigoted sexist white male horse.
He just hates me because I'm a pansexual. I mean, a guy I know is a pansexual. I mean, I'm just gonna put pansexual because everybody. That's right.
I mean,
everybody likes that.
I mean, I'm Rian Johnson, and I'm not in love with the script that I wrote for the Lost
Yeah. I'm Rian Johnson, and I don't mind it if people hate me. Goes home and
Like, I
cries.
can imagine someone rips the script in front of Rian Johnson, he starts crying, but then like he just reprints it later, and it's like, what was the point of you crying over the ripped script?
Or no, maybe he loved the script so much, and maybe that's why it was so bad, because some of the pages were stuck together.
They skipped a couple of
I don't want to think about Rian Johnson's spunk.
So yeah, Urbia, what do you think would have happened? Do you think it would have been better off, or do you think it would have been equally as bad or worse? What do you think?
Like, would it have been worse than the prequels? There's a good chance it would have been worse than the prequels. He's getting older and stuff. Like, he think it's very possible. But, like, I can't imagine it being worse than Last Jedi, because Last Jedi was just, like, plot hole. Every scene was pretty much a plot hole. Like, he went out of his way to make sure the story made no sense. And I feel like, yeah, the story would have probably been bad, but it would have made sense at least. Like,
yes.
at the bare minimum.
At least by the 9th episode, it would have actually just rounded off everything. At least that much.
Yeah. Hey, who knows? Maybe there would have been the reveal that how Anakin was conceived, because he didn't have a father.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could have been. Or they learned that technique that Palpatine had, where he could create life.
Maybe. I mean, look, it's all conjecture at this point. But
Yeah, it would have been bad, but it would tie in.
Yeah.
Unlike Johnson, but when Johnson was in kindergarten, he was the kid that put the round thing into the square hole, wasn't he?
Yeah. And then he kept on hitting it and hitting it until it fit inside. It's like, there! I'm brilliant! But alright, any last words, guys?
Aye.
That's it from me.
Yeah, I think
I've
I've said everything I want to say.
What more is there to say? Star Wars is and would have been in the shitter. I guess at this point it's just, how bad it would have smelled.
I think the worst part of it all is that Disney had the resources. They had the talent.
They had the content.
They had the content. They could have easily hired a great director to write and direct it.
Like,
you know?
who just out of the blue, James Cameron, maybe?
Fuck. Margin, don't get on the Urbia bandwagon.
Yes.
Stop.
You have joined
But I mean,
Now
even
we
Colin
will-
Trevorrow.
Now join me in my submarine as we search for the bomb.
That's just for the bar.
But I mean, even Colin Trevorrow, apparently his episode 9 that he wanted to direct, Mark Hamill and George Lucas said that they liked it. So, but again, it was all Kathleen Kennedy. She was the one making the decisions. She's the one who fucked up. She's the one who hired terrible people to make Star Wars go forward. She's the one who fucked it up.
At least we know that the impact has been made. I mean, she is quiet now.
Oh, yeah.
She is so quiet. You think that's because she's too ashamed to show her face? Or the Disney PR guy said, behind the desk, shut the fuck up.
Yes.
Don't
Yes.
move. Don't blink.
If I have to clean your shit one more time.
And the janitor next to her is like, me too, motherfucker.
Yeah. And the janitor's mopping right there. Me too. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time.